We tell stories of human way, not with artificial voices or AI slop. In the end, what's HFI without humanity? Subscribe to keep it this way. My name is Amir Sohal. Let's begin. The silence of space was never complete. Even in the vast emptiness, there were whispers, signals from distant worlds, faint vibrations that told a story only the train could hear. Captain Elena Ross sat at the bridge of the Aurora, staring at the blinking console lights. They were approaching the planet designated Zithra 7, an uncharted world in the far reaches of the Andromeda sector. "This is it," Elena murmured, her voice tight with tension. No turning back. Her crew of 8 looked tense. Among them were Dr. Malik, the ship's chief scientist, Lieutenant Jonas, the navigator, and the newest addition, a young engineer named Kara, who still struggled to hide her nerves. Distance the planet's surface? Elena asked, her tone steady, though her heart raced. Jonas glanced at the holographic display. Approximately 23,000 kilometers, Captain. Atmospheric readings are unusual. Gravity levels higher than we expected. Life signs? Minimal, if any. High gravity? Kara whispered, her eyes wide. How high are we talking? Jonas hesitated. 1.5 times Earth's gravity. The crew exchanged nervous glances. Space exploration had always carried risks, but this was different. 1.5 GS was tolerable for short periods. Prolonged exposure? Dangerous. Possibly lethal. The Aurora began its descent. As the planet's surface grew closer, the crew could see jagged mountains, sprawling deserts, and what appeared to be rivers of a strange, glowing liquid. The colors shifted under the alien sun, like liquid emerald and fire mixed together. "This is incredible," Dr. Malik said, adjusting his glasses. "Life may have adapted to this gravity, or perhaps not all." Elena's fingers hovered over the console. She had been in command for 5 years, but the unease gnawing at her today was unlike anything she had felt. The planet seemed alive, watching them, waiting. A sudden crackle in the comm system startled the crew. The console flickered, and a voice unlike any human sound filled the bridge. "No species survives 1G gravity." The words were chilling, spoken in perfect English, but with an undertone that made it clear this was not human. The crew froze. Elena straightened. "Identify yourself." There was a pause. Then the voice spoke again, slower this time, deliberate. "I am Professor Thalyx. You are not meant to survive here, not without understanding the cost." Dr. Malik's eyes widened. "An alien intelligent, and it knows about gravity. How?" Elena took a deep breath. "Prepare for landing, but keep defensive systems online. I don't trust this voice." The ship touched the surface with a low rumble. The high gravity pressed down immediately. Each step on the planet felt like walking through thick syrup. Kara stumbled almost instantly. Jonas grunted as his muscles strained against the unseen force. "Gravity is brutal," Jonas muttered. "It's more than I expected." The crew fought their way to the ship's landing ramp. Outside, the air was breathable but heavy. Every movement required effort. Dr. Malik took out a portable scanner and ran it over the ground. "There is life here," he said, voice trembling. "But it's evolved differently. Bones denser, muscles thicker, nothing like Earth creatures." Elena nodded. "We proceed carefully. Stay close." They moved across the alien landscape. The light shifted constantly, as if the planet itself were breathing. Then they saw it, a figure standing on a ridge above them. Tall, thin, almost skeletal, but with eyes that glowed like molten silver. The being watched them without moving. Professor Thalyx. Elena raised her hand in a cautious greeting. The alien tilted its head, then spoke. "You do not belong here. This gravity kills your kind slowly. You will break. Every bone, every muscle, every cell will scream." Kara shivered. "Then why are we here?" The alien stepped closer, each movement deliberate, graceful despite the heavy gravity. "Curiosity, ambition, survival. I see it in you, but ambition can destroy species. Do you understand that?" Dr. Malik took a cautious step forward. "We've survived worse. We adapt. Humans, our species, is built to overcome challenges. Thalyx's eyes glowed brighter. Perhaps, but no species survives 1G gravity here. You will fail where others have perished. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled. The glowing rivers churned violently. Rocks lifted, spinning in the air, held briefly against a crushing gravity. The crew stumbled. Elena caught Kara before she fell, sweat running down her temple. "This is no ordinary planet," Jonas said, his voice strained. "It's alive, or it reacts to us." Thalyx's voice cut through the chaos. "I have watched. I have waited. Few species reach this point. None have succeeded." Elena's mind raced. They had come for exploration, for discovery, for the chance to prove that humans could survive where others could not. And now, the reality of the challenge pressed down as surely as the gravity itself. "We need to communicate," she said, voice firm. "We need to understand the rules here, the limits." Thalyx studied them for a long moment. "The rules are simple. Survive the gravity. Survive yourselves. Adapt or perish." A sharp rumble shook the ridge. Elena's heart leaped. "Is that a warning or?" Thalyx gestured to a distant canyon. "Look, watch what happens when a species fails." From the canyon came a faint, horrifying sound. A mix of cracking, tearing, and a low moan. The crew peered over the edge and saw skeletal figures tangled in the rocky slopes. The remains of other explorers, long dead, their forms twisted and broken under gravity's relentless pressure. Dr. Malik swallowed hard. "So, the legends are true. Others they tried." Elena clenched her fists. "We're humans. We find a way. That's what we do." Thalyx's silver eyes narrowed. "We shall see. You will face the test soon. The first trial begins at the ridge above. One wrong step and the cost is clear." The crew looked up. The ridge seemed impossibly high, even under the alien sun. And yet, the only path forward led there. The test was inevitable. Carol whispered, voice barely audible, "Why us? Why show this to us?" Elena turned to her, her eyes fierce. "Because we're here. And because humans adapt. That's what makes us dangerous, even to a planet that wants to kill us." Thalyx's laugh echoed, soft, almost sad, but filled with authority. "Dangerous, yes. But will you survive or join the rest? That remains to be seen." The Aurora's crew set up temporary shelter near the base of the ridge, straining under the weight of each movement. Every breath was effortful. Every step tested their strength. And yet, in their hearts, they held a spark. The spark that had carried humanity through millennia of impossible odds. As night fell on Zithra 7, the alien sun dipping behind jagged mountains, Elena watched the silver-eyed professor from a distance. A storm of glowing mist began rising from the rivers. The air thickened. Gravity seemed heavier than ever. Elena whispered to herself, "We will survive. Somehow we will survive." The first night passed with tension and whispered fears. No one slept fully. Shadows moved in strange ways. Sounds, unfamiliar, haunting, echoed through the canyons. When dawn came, the ridge above seemed closer, but more daunting than ever. Thalyx's voice carried down. "Prepare yourselves. The first trial begins now." Elena took a deep breath. Her crew gathered, muscles aching, minds racing. The trial was ahead, and the desperate call of survival echoed louder than any fear. Humanity was about to face a test no other species had survived, and the cost of failure was written clearly in the broken remains below. And so, with hearts pounding, humans stepped toward the unknown, determined to prove what no one had before. That species could endure, adapt, and triumph against impossible odds. The ridge above towered like a silent giant, jagged and unforgiving. The crew of the Aurora looked up, muscles trembling under the relentless pressure of Zithra 7's gravity. Each step toward the ridge was a battle, every movement a test of endurance. Captain Elena Ross led the way, her hands gripping the harness straps that anchored her to the rocky slope. Behind her, Kara stumbled, her legs quivering. "I can't, it's too heavy," she gasped. Elena glanced back, her voice firm. "Yes, it's heavy, but you can. We adapt. We survive. That's what humans do." Dr. Malik scanned the ridge with his portable gravity sensor. The numbers made him frown. Pressure is increasing exponentially as we ascend. At this rate, we're pushing past 2 times Earth's gravity at the peak. Lieutenant Jonas muttered under his breath, teeth clenched. Jess, no species survives this, not without help. Then we are no ordinary species, Elena replied, her tone low but fierce. The alien Professor Thalyx watched from a high ledge, glowing eyes following every movement. They are foolish and stubborn. Perhaps this is why they endure. The first challenge came without warning. A section of the ridge crumbled under their weight. Rocks tumbled downward, creating a miniature avalanche. Kara screamed as she slipped, but Elena lunged forward, catching her just in time. Hold on, Elena shouted. Use your arms. Brace yourself. Dr. Malik gritted his teeth, pulling himself up hand over hand. Jonas found a narrow crevice to anchor himself. The crew was slowly learning to work with the gravity instead of fighting it. Every mistake could be fatal. The ridge was longer than they expected, a jagged path with sharp rocks and deep drops. The alien rivers below glowed ominously. It wasn't just a gravity that was dangerous. It was a planet itself, alive in ways they could not understand. Thalyx's voice echoed softly through their communicators. The test is simple. 1 step wrong and the cost is yours. 1 species fails, all fail. Elena ignored the warning and pressed forward. Every step burned their muscles. Yet they pushed on. This was a human test, physical, mental, and moral. Halfway up, a sudden quake shook the ridge. Rocks shifted, creating new crevices and forcing the crew to improvise. Kara's harness snapped, sending her sliding dangerously toward the edge. Elena dove, grabbing her just before she disappeared into glowing abyss below. Don't let go. Kara gasped. I won't, Elena said firmly, hauling her up with every ounce of strength. They paused to catch their breath. Dr. Malik wiped sweat from his brow. This gravity, it's trying to break us. Not just our bodies, our minds too. Jonas clenched his fists. Then we'll break it first. We're human. That's what we do. As they climbed, the air seemed to thicken. Each breath was harder, each heartbeat louder. The ridge narrowed, forcing them to move in single file. The glowing rivers below reflected in their eyes, like molten fire. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the ridge. A massive slab of rock began sliding down toward them. Elena shouted, Move! Everyone move! The crew scrambled, their hands scraping against jagged stones. Jonas's foot slipped. He yelped but caught a sharp ledge just in time. Dr. Malik almost fell, but Kara grabbed his arm and pulled him up. When the rocks finally settled, the crew was shaken but alive. Every member understood something crucial. Survival here wasn't just about strength. It was about teamwork, trust, and human ingenuity. They pressed on higher and higher. The path became almost vertical. The ridge ended at a sheer cliff, the peak above them shrouded in swirling alien mist. Gravity pressed harder than ever. Dr. Malik's sensor beeped frantically. 2.4 GS. Kara fell to her knees, gasping. I can't go further. Elena knelt beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder. Yes, you can. We all can. Humans survive impossible odds. Remember that. Dr. Malik's voice trembled. There's no denying it. We're doing what no other species has managed. But if we fail now... Elena cut him off. Then we'll learn, and we'll try again. That's how humans survive. The final stretch was a vertical climb with jagged grips. Elena led, testing each hold carefully before trusting it. Jonas followed, then Malik, then Kara, whose determination was slowly overcoming exhaustion. Halfway up, a shadow flickered across the ridge. Elena froze. From the mist, figures emerged. Skeletal silhouettes, twisted and broken, remnants of those who failed before. Gravity had crushed them. Their bones jutted at unnatural angles, frozen in time. The crew shivered. This was the cost Professor Thalyx had warned them about, but Elena's resolve only hardened. We're not them, she whispered. We adapt. We endure. Thalyx's voice echoed down from above. Endurance alone will not save you. Only understanding, only strategy, only ingenuity. Elena scanned the ridge. The path was almost gone. They needed a plan. Using a combination of climbing gear, harnesses, and ropes, she created a pulley system to redistribute weight. Jonas anchored the ropes. Dr. Malik calculated the optimal angles. Kara passed tools up and down with incredible precision. It was humans using brains and teamwork, HFY at its finest. Finally, they reached the last ledge before the peak. Each step felt like moving through a storm of invisible pressure. Kara's legs shook violently. Dr. Malik's fingers trembled on the rocks. Jonas gritted his teeth, sweat blinding his vision. Elena climbed the last few feet and turned back. Almost there. We're almost there. The crew followed, hearts pounding. As they reached the summit, the alien mist parted, revealing Professor Thalyx, standing calmly on a flat stone. His silver eyes gleamed with quiet approval. "You have reached the first trial's end," Thalyx said. "Few species even attempt this. Fewer still succeed." Elena exhaled, feeling the heavy gravity like chains slowly loosening. "We did it. We survived the ridge." Thalyx's voice grew softer, almost human in tone. "Surviving the ridge is only the beginning. True survival requires understanding your limits and your strengths." Suddenly, the peak trembled. A massive chasm opened behind them, swallowing the path they had climbed. The crew gasped. There was no turning back. The trial had tested their strength, their courage, and their minds, and now it demanded more. Jonas stared into the abyss. "So we go forward. There's no other choice." Elena nodded. "Forward. Always forward. That's what humans do." Thalyx raised a hand. "Very well. You will face the second trial soon. But remember, gravity is only the beginning. The planet itself will challenge every instinct you have." The crew huddled together, catching their breath. They were exhausted, muscles screaming in pain, but a spark burned in their hearts. They had survived what no species had before, relying on ingenuity, teamwork, and determination. Elena looked out at the alien horizon, the rivers glowing like molten fire beneath them. "This planet, it's alive, and it wants to see if we are worthy. Let it try. Humans, we endure." And so, the crew prepared. The second trial awaited, more dangerous than the first, but for the first time, they understood something critical. Humans do not give up. Humans survive. And sometimes, humans thrive where nothing else can. As night fell again on Zithra 7, shadows danced across the glowing rivers below. The wind carried whispers, the planet testing their resolve. Each member of the crew knew that tomorrow, the real challenge would begin. But for now, they had survived, and that in itself was proof enough that humanity had a place in a universe that sought to crush them. The night on Zithra 7 had been restless. Shadows shifted unnaturally across the glowing rivers, and the wind carried whispers that sounded almost like voices. The crew of the Aurora sat huddled on the summit of the ridge, muscles sore, eyes wide with anticipation. Captain Elena Ross stared at the horizon. The alien planet had tested their bodies, but she knew the next trial would test their minds, and perhaps their very humanity. Dr. Malik checked the gravity sensors again. Levels are steady for now, but the readings are unstable. There are fluctuations I cannot explain. Fluctuations? Kara asked, shivering under the alien wind. "Like the planet itself is reacting to us," Malik replied. "It's not just gravity anymore. Something intelligent." Jonas, leaning on a jagged rock, muttered, "So now it's personal. Great. Just what I needed. An angry planet with a grudge." A sudden glow appeared ahead, mist coiled like living snakes, and through it, the crew could see shapes forming. Figures, humanoid but alien, with limbs long and thin, skin shimmering in the light of the rivers below. They moved silently, surrounding the crew without a sound. Professor Thalyx appeared before them, stepping lightly across the mist. "This is your second trial." His silver eyes glowed brighter than ever. "Survive the mind or perish before your body even fails." Elena straightened. "Explain," she demanded, though she already knew reasoning with an alien of this power would be useless. Thalyx raised a hand, and the mist shifted. Images appeared around them. Visions of home, Earth, their families, memories they had buried. The glowing rivers below reflected scenes from their own lives, sometimes distorted, sometimes horrifying. Kara's breath caught. This is my family, but they're screaming. Jonas's eyes widened. Mine, too, it's like it knows everything about me. Elena's chest tightened. She saw visions of her father, her mother, and a younger version of herself, all begging, crying, warning her not to continue. She swallowed hard. It's try and break our minds. Make us turn back. Dr. Malik stepped forward. It's a test of courage and focus. Do not let it manipulate your thoughts. Humans adapt. Humans endure. Humans survive. The alien mist thickened. Voices echoed in their ears. Whispers of doubt. You will fail. You are too weak. Turn back or die. Jonas growled through clenched teeth. I don't care what it throws at me. We made it this far and we aren't stopping now. Elena nodded. Exactly. Keep moving forward. Focus on each other, not the illusions. Thalyx's voice cut through, calm and terrifying. Do not underestimate the power of the mind. Many species fail here before a single bone breaks. The mist swirled violently, forming a path forward, but the path was lined with illusions of danger. Cliffs that seemed to open beneath their feet, glowing rivers that appeared to surge toward them, spectral figures reaching out. One misstep, one glance at the illusions too long, and the mind could collapse under fear. Elena led, gripping her harness and stepping with extreme caution. Kara followed, hands shaking. I can't tell what's real, she whispered. Then trust me, Elena said firmly. Trust your strength. Trust your mind. Trust your team. Dr. Malik adjusted his scanner, trying to find the real path through the illusions. If we rely on logic, we can distinguish reality from projection, he said, voice tight. Step by step, they advanced. The illusions became more personal, targeting their deepest fears and regrets. Kara saw herself alone, abandoned on a distant Earth colony. Jonas saw his younger brother, crushed under a collapsing building. Dr. Malik saw all the mistakes of his scientific career, every failed experiment flashing before him. Yet through it all, Elena's leadership held them together. We are human, she said, voice echoing. We learn. We survive. We overcome. Hours, or maybe minutes, passed. Time seemed meaningless in the alien mist. The team's endurance was tested beyond muscle, beyond strength. Each step forward required mental clarity, courage, and the ability to support one another. Suddenly, the illusions became physical. The mist solidified into creatures, humanoid but twisted, glowing with alien energy. They lunged at the crew, attempting to push them off the ridge. Jonas swung his harness like a weapon, knocking one back. Kara grabbed a loose rock and threw it, breaking another. Dr. Malik calculated their trajectory, directing the crew to positions that minimized risk. Elena moved with precision, guiding her team through the chaos. Remember, it's not real. Keep moving. One illusion, larger than the others, surged at Elena. She faltered, but before it could reach her, Kara jumped and pushed her out of the way. They both tumbled to the side, hearts pounding, muscles burning, but alive. Professor Thalyx's voice resonated through the ridge. You are proving what I have long suspected. Your species is remarkable, but understanding your own mind is only half the battle. The illusions retreated as suddenly as they appeared. The mist parted, revealing the true path forward, a narrow ledge carved from the mountain itself. Gravity pressed down like a tangible weight, but the illusions no longer interfered. Elena surveyed the ridge. The crew was battered, exhausted, but still standing. They had survived the planet's mental assault, relying on teamwork, courage, and human ingenuity. Look at us, Elena said quietly. We made it, together. Kara, panting, smiled weakly. We really are human, aren't we? Jonas grinned. Hell yes. No alien mind game is going to stop us. Dr. Malik adjusted his sensors. The mental trial is complete, but the readings are worrying. Gravity is intensifying again. Thalyx warned of another test, one that combines body and mind. Thalyx stepped forward from the mist, his presence both terrifying and awe-inspiring. The third trial is not just survival. It is evolution. You must transcend your limits, or perish. Elena's jaw tightened. Then we evolve. That's what humans do. Every challenge, every impossible task, we find a way. The ridge stretched ahead, leading to a valley below glowing with strange energy. Streams of molten like liquid twisted through jagged rocks. Gravity fluctuated unpredictably. Some areas pressed heavily, others barely at all. Elena knew the next trial would be worse than anything before, but there was no turning back. Humans had proven their endurance and ingenuity. Now, they would have to prove something more. Their ability to adapt, to evolve, and survive not just a planet, but the very test the universe set against them. As night fell once more, the team set up camp at the edge of the valley. Shadows of the alien world stretched long and menacing. Thalyx's silver eyes gleamed in the distance, watching, waiting. Elena gazed at her crew, exhausted but unbroken. The planet thinks it can break us. It's wrong. Humans endure. Humans adapt. Humans survive. And in the alien silence, that was the most dangerous thought of all. For the planet. For Thalyx. For anyone who doubted the species that had just climbed a ridge no other being had survived. Tomorrow, the trial of evolution would begin, and humanity would face it head-on. The alien valley stretched before the crew of the Aurora, a chaotic landscape of jagged rocks, glowing rivers, and ever-shifting gravity. The last trial awaited them. The trial of evolution. Professor Thalyx's silver eyes glimmered from a high ledge, watching silently, as if measuring every heartbeat, every movement. Elena Ross took a deep breath. Her muscles ached from the ridge, her mind still reeling from the illusions of the second trial, but she felt a familiar spark in her chest, the spark that had carried humanity through centuries of impossible odds. "We're here," she said quietly. "This is it. Everything we've done leads to this moment. Stay close, trust each other, and adapt." Kara's voice trembled, but determination shone in her eyes. "We can do this, Captain. We have to." Dr. Malik scanned the valley with his instruments. Gravity readings are all over the place. Some zones are 2.5 GS, others near zero. And the energy from these rivers, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. It's almost alive. Jonas exhaled. Great. A living, angry planet. Just perfect. Elena ignored the sarcasm. Forward, one step at a time. The crew entered the valley. Immediately, the ground shifted beneath their feet. Gravity fluctuated unpredictably, one moment pressing down like a weight of a ton, the next almost nothing. A misstep could throw them into the glowing rivers or crush them against jagged rocks. Suddenly, a massive chasm opened ahead. Glowing rivers churned violently, forming a barrier. Elena stepped back, scanning the valley. "This is impossible," Kara whispered. "How do we even cross?" Elena studied the surroundings. "We adapt," she said firmly. "Humans don't wait for the easy path. We create our own." Dr. Malik adjusted the team's harnesses and tools. "We can build a pulley and bridge system. It's risky, but it's our only chance." Jonas smirked. "Risky? That's our middle name." Together, they set to work. Ropes, harnesses, and makeshift planks were combined to form a bridge across the chasm. Every movement required careful calculation to balance against gravity's shifts. Elena crossed first, testing each step. Kara followed, clutching the ropes tightly, her eyes wide with fear. Jonas and Malik supported the structure from behind, adjusting tension and weight distribution. Halfway across, the river surged, sending waves of alien energy up the chasm. The ropes groaned. Kara's foot slipped. Elena lunged, grabbing her before she fell into the glowing abyss. "Focus!" Elena shouted. "Trust your strength. Trust your mind." Step by step, the team made it across. Breathless, exhausted, they looked back. The chasm was impassable to anyone not willing to adapt. They had survived the first stage of the trial of evolution. But Thalyx's voice echoed across the valley. "You have adapted your bodies. Now you must evolve your minds and your strategy. The final test awaits." The mist rose again, this time covering the valley in dense, glowing fog. From the mist emerged creatures, alien forms unlike any seen before. Shimmering limbs, reflective skin, eyes glowing like molten silver. They didn't attack immediately. They watched, circling, waiting for a mistake. Elena signaled the crew. "Stay calm. Observe. They're testing us, like the rest of this planet. We survive by thinking, not just fighting. Dr. Malik whispered, scanning the creatures. They mirror us, our movements, our actions. Every step we take, they respond. Jonas growled, then we'll make them learn. Humans don't just survive, they improvise. Elena nodded. Exactly. Lead with caution, but use strategy. Remember what got us here. Adapt, improvise, survive. The creatures lunged suddenly, not with claws or teeth, but with immense force generated by the fluctuating gravity. One wave hit the team, throwing them off balance. Kara fell, but Elena's arm shot out, catching her midair. Jonas rolled, using his harness to anchor himself, while Dr. Malik calculated the creatures' patterns, predicting their movements. For hours, the crew dodged, climbed, and countered, using their intelligence and ingenuity rather than brute force. They noticed patterns. Gravity spikes always preceded the creatures' attacks. By anticipating shifts, they could position themselves advantageously. This is it, Elena muttered. We turn their strengths against them. The team synchronized, moving as one. They used the gravity fluctuations to propel themselves, jumping longer distances, dodging faster than the creatures expected. They set traps using loose rocks and rope tension to channel the creatures into zones where gravity would hinder them but aid humans. Thalyx's voice echoed, impressed yet cautious. Remarkable. Few species could think this way. Even fewer could survive. Finally, the creatures hesitated, circling but no longer attacking. The crew took a deep breath. They had mastered the trial of evolution, not just enduring gravity or illusions, but using intelligence, teamwork, and adaptability to overcome what seemed impossible. Elena stepped forward, standing tall despite exhaustion. We survived. Every challenge you set before us, we endured, not by chance, but by choice. Humans adapt. Humans endure. Humans survive. Thalyx descended from his ledge, eyes shining. For the first time, his expression seemed almost respectful. You have succeeded where all others failed. You have shown resilience, intelligence, and courage, traits that define survival. He paused. Perhaps your species deserve a place among the stars. Dr. Malik let out a shaky laugh. We did it, against all odds. Kara leaned on Elena, exhausted but smiling. We really are human. Jonas nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. And unstoppable when we work together. The alien valley began to calm. The glowing rivers shimmered softly, no longer violent. Gravity stabilized, though still heavy. The creatures disappeared back into the mist, as if acknowledging defeat. Elena looked out at the alien landscape. They had survived impossible odds, faced mental and physical trials, and emerged stronger. Humanity had proven itself, not just to the alien professor, but to the universe itself. Thalyx's voice echoed one final time. Remember this lesson, humans. The universe will always test you. But with courage, ingenuity, and unity, you can overcome even the impossible. As the crew of the Aurora gathered on a ridge, the alien sun began to rise, casting a golden glow over Zithera 7. They were battered, exhausted, and forever changed, but triumphant. Elena spoke quietly, a smile on her face. We came to explore, to survive, and we did more. We evolved. Humanity endures. Humanity conquers. Humanity thrives. Kara, looking at the alien horizon, whispered, and nothing can stop us now. Dr. Malik nodded, voice full of awe. This planet was impossible, but we are human. That's what made the difference. Jonas raised his fist. To humanity. To surviving the impossible. Elena looked at her team, her heart swelling with pride. To humanity, always forward. The crew watched the alien world in silence, knowing they had faced trials no other species could survive. Zithera 7 had tested them, broken them, and challenged them, but humans had adapted, evolved, and triumphed. And somewhere in the distance, Professor Thalyx smiled faintly, the glow of his silver eyes reflecting the truth the crew already knew. Humans endure where others fail, adapt where others perish, and survive where no one expects them to. The Aurora crew had completed the trial of evolution, And in doing so, they had proven the most dangerous truth of all: never underestimate humanity. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and support us. It really helps us grow and bring more videos like this. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.